Hello, everyone. This is Hadrian. Thank you for being here, and welcome back to Vanaar Landing in Aven Colony. So, Aven Colony is a colony simulator from Mothership Entertainment, and a public beta is set to begin on September 7th. So, of course, you'll want to bear in mind that what you're about to see is a work in progress and may not be completely representative of the final product. So, we have a referendum coming up in this episode. I think we have the support of the majority of our citizens. We actually have, looks like 73% happiness right now, which appears to be roughly equivalent to the percentage of the vote that I can expect. Really cool that there's a political element to this game. I was so shocked when that popped up, and pleasantly so. It's a really, really cool thing to think that I could lose control of the colony if I don't do well enough by the citizens. So that's a really, really cool thing. So what I'm going to do with this episode, and then with the fifth one, which right now I'm thinking will be the final episode of this mini-series, is I'm going to do this. I want to go through to the referendum, and then I want to take some time later in this episode to actually go through the interface and look at all the different building types, and look at all the different overlay modes and policies. Just what is the content of the game as it currently is. So this episode could be a little mentally exhausting for me to record, and it could be mentally exhausting to watch, but I know some of you have been waiting for this. You are looking at the series going, tell me more about the details of this game and what kinds of nuance I can expect, because you sure have talked about nuance in the miniseries, but you haven't shown it to me yet. And you've seen little pieces of it here and there, but I haven't really dove in and just looked at it objectively. So that's what we're going to do. Hey, something just popped up. A trade vessel arrived. Okay, so we're almost done with our broccoli export. We're 50% complete with that. So that's going to be probably within this episode as well. Let's speed time up just a little bit. But anyway, so that's what I'm going to do this episode. And then I think in the final episode, what we're going to do is just try and complete a few more missions on this colony. See if we can finish the Vanaar mission. If we can't, I might actually do some additional episodes until we make that happen. And then, of course, you guys can let me know what else you want to see from Aven Colony. Do you want to see maybe 5 more episodes in the miniseries? I'm open to doing a little bit more if you would like to see more. So you guys can have some input as to whether or not the miniseries is extended beyond 5 episodes. Okay, 73% of the vote. Colony doesn't take... All right, there aren't enough medical facilities here. All right, so medical facilities. Let's have a look at that. Hospital. It's actually a fairly large building. Where can we fit that? I guess I'll put the hospital there. Oh, wow. Look at all those construction drones. Holy crap. They built that fast. All right, so now we have a construction. We have a hospital. So that's going to help with average happiness, I imagine. Might see it go up to 75% even, which would be great. Let's see, we are at 122 colonists with a capacity of 140, so fairly soon. Actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and upgrade these. Very cool. All right, so these are now level 3. Power-wise, we are, I think, reaching our limit, though. So I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit more in the way of solar power. And let's have a look around and see if there's any other vents that I can take advantage of that aren't too far removed from the colony. It would appear that I have done all I can in the area of the Vanaar colony as far as the vents. It would appear that way. I don't think I can really build this direction. Yeah, the camera's actually limiting me. Oh, hey, I got a new mission. Oh, need to hit the home key. Lost control of the camera somehow. All right. The broccoli was excellent, thank you. Now we need some barley. Well, aren't you needy? Seriously, this guy's really needy. Like, every time I complete a mission for him, he's like, cool, thanks. Here's the next thing I need. Let's see. Barley. Let's export 250 barley. How are we doing on barley production? We're actually almost to the... All right, we actually have a ton of barley, so that should be fine. We do need to build additional storage. So let's do a storage depot and put it over here next to the other storage depot. Winter is coming, which is not good. I didn't get a warning about winter, so do I need to worry? I'm not sure. And when is the referendum going to happen? When is that going to be a thing? Right. Speaking of that, too much crime here. It's too crowded here. I have to walk too far to get to my job. Cry me a river. Okay, well, let's see. I'm a terrible leader. Let's... Alright, if you need water, then we'll build you water. Actually, no, it wasn't water. What am I thinking? It's, crime, I guess. An Earth History Center is what needs to be built in order to complete this mission. So maybe that's what I'll do at the end of episode 5. Bar and grill, retail center, VR center. I feel like I saw police somewhere. I do feel like I saw that. I just can't remember where. So I'm just trying to find my way to where that building was. There it is, Police Drone Hub. Alright, so let's make sure the game is at minimum speed. Let's have a look at the crime overlay, shall we? Where is crime a problem? Whoa. Actually, crime is a problem in a lot of the colony. So let's go ahead and build a police drone hub right here. Like right in the heart of it. And then we're gonna watch the overlay and see what kind of immediate effect building this thing has. Oh wow. Oh wow. Okay. That was awesome. Alright, so now there's a police drone that's... Oh, cool. He's just kind of watching things. He's scanning people. You know what we haven't done in a while? We haven't taken a look at the colonists. Kathy Jordan. If you hit the C button, you can just bring up the camera and watch colonists as they walk through. Jacob Ling. He's pretty happy. Sean Taylor. Esther Teller. Tony Smith. Vivian Garcia. So, I mean, you can get to know the colonists to a certain extent. You can see what's affecting their happiness. Crime, crowding. So maybe the colony should be more spread out somehow to deter that crowding effect. So we are losing food, but we're producing so much that it's not really an issue right now. We have so much food that's produced during the year that there's not as much to be concerned about in the winter, which is what we want to happen. Actually, it looks like we're in positive production right now in the middle. Well, actually, winter's almost over, so that explains it. That explains it. Yeah, winter's actually peeling back. I can see it already not getting quite as foggy. Things are getting less white and snowy. Cool. All right, well, let's deselect that colonist. Oh, good. We won the referendum. We won 74% of the vote. The colony doesn't take law and order seriously. Yeah, we do. We just built the frickin' thing. There are too many people where I live. There aren't enough medical facilities here. This victory unlocked 10 new social policies. New mission available. Congratulations on winning the referendum. As your population grows, you'll need to find them more suitable accommodations. Please build a skyscraper. As a skyscraper can house a great number of colonists, it's a good idea to build it somewhere central to your colony to allow easy access to all of your colony's various structures. You know, I don't think I'm going to build the skyscraper just yet. My maximum capacity is I still have room for 20 more colonists. I'm going to keep things on slow, and then we'll get to that in a second. But what I want to do right now, as I said in the beginning of the episode, is I want to take a second or take more than a second, but I want to really go through the interface and look in detail at some of the things we haven't looked at yet. So what do these different buildings do? And then what do some of the different overlays and social policies do? Really just kind of go through and see what all the details are and kind of dig into the game. Again, because I know a lot of you are looking forward to this. So if we get through this before I've gone through about 20 minutes of the episode, 25 minutes, then there might be some more gameplay at the end of this. But if you're not necessarily interested in going through the details, you don't have to feel like you have to keep watching this episode as of this moment. I certainly welcome you to. It's going to be interesting, and it will improve your understanding of the game as either just someone who watches it or someone who is playing it now or wishes to play it in the future. But again, I want to give you a heads up that this might not be as much gameplay starting now. So I actually am going to pause things completely. Oh no, that's the console. Go away. Don't need the developer console. But So I'm going to pause things, and we're going to start going through things. But first, I need to take a sip of my drink. I am now ready. Okay. So let's just start. I mean, we know about tunnels. There's really just one kind of tunnel. You can't, I don't believe you can upgrade the tunnel types, but let's have a look. Nope, you can't. You can repair them so they can be damaged, interestingly enough. And they do use electricity. So tunnels are tunnels, and they're all the way over here. And then residential structures, we have apartments, which we've already built. There's just one possible apartment type. They require 8 power, 16 colonists. I'm not going to go through all the requirements of all the buildings, but again, it's a very simple building. And then you have the habitats. And again, one really cool thing is that you can build these buildings at the different tiers. You can either build a habitat and upgrade to tier 3, or you can straight up build a tier 3 habitat if you just want to crank one out that way. And here, of course, are these skyscrapers. And notice that there is a second tier skyscraper as well. So the skyscraper is approximately yay tall. Really, really tall building when it comes to the rest of the colony. But those support 60 colonists each, and they require 40 power. And they require actually fewer nanites to build than a tier 3 habitat, interestingly enough, but a lot more power, and they support... Look at this. Look at this. Tier 3 habitat, as of right now, pre-beta, actually supports more colonists than a skyscraper, and requires a lot less power. Maybe it's less crowded. Maybe when you have a tier 3 habitat, residents aren't as happy as they are in a skyscraper. But as far as just the basics, it looks like there's a bit of a advantage there to building a tier 3 habitat instead of a skyscraper, except in instances like right now where the game wants you to build one in order to fulfill a mission. So those are the residential structures. Let's go to resource management. So we've got the mini storage depot, which we have built. I think our mini storage depot is right there. Then we have the storage depots. Now, these are just ways to improve your overall storage. As you can see, because I built that second storage depot, I now have only about 48%, whereas just a moment ago, I was closing it. I think it was early this episode or the previous episode, I was closing in on having my storage 90% full. So now I'm just close to 50% as opposed to being close to 100% because we built that additional storage. And then, of course, I haven't upgraded my storage at all to tier 2 or tier 3, but these are just larger storage buildings. And then there are mills. Now, mills convert and refine raw ingredients into solid foods. So what kind of raw ingredients would you be talking about? I'm guessing you would take wheat and you know, as you would expect it to be used at a mill. That's cool though. It hasn't been... I'll have to find out more about that as we get into the game, but there's 2 tiers of mill, and then there's the chemical plants. Now, chemical plants, again, are where we actually take some of the locally grown plants, like the Xenosage here, or where's the other one? Oh, don't tell me I built 2 Xenosage things and not a... Oh, did I do that? Oh, I'm an idiot. Okay. Okay, well, that would explain why we haven't been able to do the mind mold just yet. Hey, live and learn. I've had some issues, some of which may have been my fault, some of which may have been, you know, the interface still being a little bit wonky with it being early access, or not even early access, but pre-beta. But I actually have 2 Xenosage farms done, so I'm actually going to fix this real quick before we continue, because that's going to bug me. So let's recycle this. Yeah, that didn't need to be a Xenosage building. That needed to be an Antari. That explains why I haven't been able to make the mind mold yet. I just haven't paid much attention to it because we've had so much else to do this whole time. Let's see here. Farms. Enable, inedible, and Antari. Perfect. Alright, now build that. Okay. Glad I finally noticed that. Let's upgrade it really quick. Let's upgrade it really quick again. And pause. Okay, back to business. Oh, I feel better about that now. Okay, so we're going to be able to complete the mind mold mission pretty soon. Anyway, so the chemical plant is where you create those substances that are unique to whatever part of the planet you might be on based on what the things that you're growing. And then the research center, again, is, as you've seen, it's where you can research all kinds of different things. Different drugs, basically, different substances, but also just xenospice bread, different things that can make your colonists really, really happy because they're more exotic foods that they get as perks for being at their particular colony. So, spaceport buildings, just 2. We've got the Immigration Center and the Trade Hub. These are not upgradable. You just build them, and they're the same for the entirety of the game. This might change by the time development ends, but right now it's just these 2. The Immigration Center brings in new colonists, and the Trade Hub brings in new goods, and you can export goods as well in exchange for other goods if you like. Electricity structures, we have the solar panels. We have the 2 levels of geothermal generators. With the energy batteries, which I probably need to upgrade some energy batteries again. Yeah, those are level 2 right now. Notice that the upgrade buttons have the same number of notches as tiers. So if a building, this is not just a button to show that you can upgrade. If a building has only 2 tiers of upgrades, for instance, hang on, let's find one with just 2 tiers. Yeah, see? You can actually see by looking at the button what tier a building is easily. So that's pretty handy. Now, the Zorium generators are tier 1 and 2. Now, what are Zorium generators? It generates electricity from Zorium, which must be mined separately. Now, I do remember when looking at mining, Zorium was a thing. It's right here. So there's 5,000 Zorium remaining. Interesting. The actual resources are limited when you place mines. Good to know. But anyway, getting ahead of myself. So you can have Zorium generators producing power. Interesting. I have to mine that, and then that could produce a lot more power during the winter. So good to know. That's something to keep in mind for the future. Got to have 10 Zorium to even build it, though. So anyway, drone management. You have your construction drone hubs. Then you have your scrubber drones. What are these? Support drones that automatically eliminate creep infections and structures within a fixed radius. All right, so schematics not available. Creep infections. So that actually sounds... When I hear creep, I think about Zerg creep in StarCraft, and I would imagine it might be something similar, that there might be some kind of land-based just ooze or gel or even living organism that spreads like kudzu, if you will, over the land and just overtakes colonies and kills colonists. So maybe the scrubbers are how you keep that stuff at bay. And then, of course, you have your police drone hubs, the effects of which we have seen in, I think it was the beginning of this episode, maybe one of the previous ones. Where are you guys going? Oh, you're just flying back to your spot. All right, let's pause things again. Farming structures. We have the 3 farms and the 2 greenhouses. We've seen pretty much all of those. Not very much difference between the 2. They all require the same amount of power. They all require the same amount of workers. They just, as you upgrade them, that's interesting. That could probably change. They might require more power when you upgrade them. They might require more workers because they're bigger facilities that are being more productive. But for now, they're the same. Mines. You have mines. You have 3 tiers of mine, which you've seen. We have laser mines. Extract minerals much more quickly than a mine, but destroys half the minerals. Oh, that sucks. Why would you ever do that? Destroys half the minerals in the process. So that's like when you're really desperate for a given resource and you need it quickly. You don't mind sacrificing a great deal of it in the name of that rush, then you can do that. And then, of course, the nanite processors, just to build additional nanites. I think I still just have 1 of those. Maybe I should build 2 at this point because I don't feel like I'm generating nanites that quickly. But then again, with the exception of times where I was really building a lot in a short period of time, I don't think I've really run into a situation in this miniseries where I felt that I needed more than that. But again, in larger colonies, you're going to want more nanite construction happening at once. Water pumps, we've seen that. Also, we looked at these. I might have pointed to it without talking about them, but atmospheric condensers pull moisture from the air, so it's less effective than a water pump, but it works anywhere. So in areas of a colony where I want to have a water pump but don't really have a good water square nearby, I can use an atmospheric condenser. That's handy. And then finally, air management structures. The intake fans, as you've seen, and then the air filters, which again are less efficient. But apparently these... Oh yes, because I haven't Oh, all right. This is a mechanic that I didn't actually pick up until just now. I mentioned when I was talking about the residential structures that you can build these at any tier you want, but you have to start with the small tiers and upgrade to the next tiers before you unlock the ability to build the next tier up. This is a perfect example. So many of you might have heard me explaining that, and then seen that and then you saw that the skyscraper tier 2 was not available. That's because I haven't built a tier 1 skyscraper yet. So you can build any tier you want of buildings that are multi-tier, but you have to build the lowest tier and upgrade to them first before you have that ability. So yes, that's why I haven't been able to build these yet, because I haven't built the first air filter. So now services. We looked closely at these while I was looking for where the police go, but we can do a bar and grill, which is cool. Increases food quality and provides some entertainment and morale to the surrounding area. Tier 2 of that same structure. Parks slightly increases air quality, interesting, and entertainment morale in the surrounding area. Retail center, so consumption happiness and distributes jewelry and holo units to colonists in range. And then they tier 2 of that same thing. A VR center, so colonists with virtual reality. It's basically a holodeck if you want. And then of course there's the tier 1 and tier 2 hospital. And then the Earth History Center, which again is the final cap to this particular mission. We have to build an Earth History Center, and we need 360 nanites to do it. But it's looking like we're going to be able to do it fairly soon. So those are all of the structures that you can build in Aven Colony. What about the other overlays? What can you see just by investigating the interface? You can look at the air quality, as we've seen, but you can also look at resources. So you can see buildings that produce consumable or non-consumable. You can also see where particular resources are unexploited. So these resources right here, unexploited. I can look around and see just different spots that have not been taken advantage of. There's not really on this side of the colony, but over here we've got a little bit of basically our fertilizer salt. I forget the name of it, but it's there. Potash, yeah, potash. We've got that. Where were we? Yeah, resources overlay. There we go. So this allows you to just very easily see what buildings are providing what resource. As you can see the icon on top of the bars here, and you can mouse over and see what the rates are. It's very, very useful. And I imagine, the usefulness of this will become more apparent to more experienced players. Housing overlay. This lets you see which buildings are fully inhabited. So it looks like this one is full, and this habitat is about 2/3 full. And then this apartment building is full. This life support module is full. So yeah, I'm going to have to build that skyscraper yesterday, essentially, is what that's telling me. And then happiness. Everyone's pretty happy, as supported by the 73% average happiness. I can probably build some parks to make people happier in certain areas, but it's very nice to be able to just look right here and say, I can probably build a park right here and make people a lot happier in this entire area. You can definitely tell that there are some people, especially people that at the water pump. Oddly, people at the chemical plant are very happy. They're having a good time. But that is the way that the happiness overlay works. You've got the drones overlay, so you can see. Let's see here. Oh, okay, this actually shows the coverage. This is what I was talking about a few episodes back, about being able to see the coverage of your police drones, construction zones, and scrubber drones. Handy. So you've got the outline as well as... Now, what do these things mean? Construction and police drones can reach. So there are different colors depending on where there's actual overlap. So ideally, I guess you want to have a third color that's not on the map right now because I don't have scrubber drones that would show that all 3 types of drones can reach a given area. That's cool. Structures overlay. High integrity and low integrity. So this is just indicating any structures that are damaged. So if there was ever a catastrophic disaster of any kind, then that's where you would find out that information. Electricity overlay. Consumption and production of all buildings. Again, becomes more apparent how this could be useful once you are more experienced with the game. I'm pretty comfortable just looking at the power situation right now and adding more electricity when I need it. But this is a good way to micromanage for those of you who want that information. Employment overlay, we've gone over this. This is where people live, and then this is where people actually work. And you can see what percentage of jobs have been filled there. You can also limit by shift left clicking. I'm not going to do that. I just actually fired someone from a job accidentally. Sorry, whoever you are. But but that's how that situation works. And then we have the crops overlay. Now the crops overlay you've seen multiple times. This is how you see what is the best place to put your various farms. But just bear in mind, this can mess with you, as it has messed with me. Water overlay, we've seen multiple times. Commute overlay. So this is where you can go to see if there's a high commute penalty. So basically, I need to get, like right over here, there are not any walkways out to these people. So these poor people over here need some way to walk to work. Unfortunately, I don't think there's a way to do a raised walkway. So you have to be careful when building this stuff that you can have walkways going in between buildings and make sure that that kind of territory is covered. And that's a really, really important mechanic. Again, they might build raised walkways in the future. But for now, there's no way to get walkways over buildings. So if you don't space out your buildings when you're building them, and if you let things like this happen, then people back here that have to work back here are going to be really frustrated. They have to walk through all of this infrastructure to get back to a thoroughfare that'll take them more rapidly and easily and less stressfully through the colony. And then finally, crime. We've already looked at that a little bit when we deployed our police drones. We might even deploy some more just to continue to reduce crime in this area. So that's the overlays. Colony control. We've seen this. This is just our inventory. Morale. We can see where morale is coming from. You can see that people can actually have drug addictions, which is crazy. And I haven't actually started manufacturing drugs yet, so that is not a factor. But believe me, it will be a factor. Hang on, let me reduce the crime overlay first. But yeah, drug addiction is a thing. Policies. So what are our new policies, you might wonder? We have water rationing. So closely monitoring water consumption of all citizens, reducing their rate of water consumption, but it's at a significant cost to morale. A job switching ban, so you can't transfer jobs. Immigration ban, you can't let any colonists in. That sounds a lot like Planetbase. Emigration allowed, you can actually leave if you want to. This requires 2 referendum victories. Power monitoring closely monitors electricity usage of all citizens and habitats in the skyscrapers, reducing their electricity usage by 2 each. Ooh, that's brutal. Forced overtime. Oh man, look at the shackle. Just what it sounds like. Increases all colonists' efficiency globally, but at an increasing cost to health and morale. Martial law. Protests cease and all protesting colonists return to work, but they're not very happy about it. Also reduces crime by 30%. So you could be an autocrat if you want. Prohibition bans the use of all enhancement substances. Free addiction treatment. Hospitals provide free addiction withdrawal treatment, reducing those effects in areas they cover, but increasing power costs. Free gaming. Nice. All colonists can play VR games for free at home, increases the electricity costs of habitats and skyscrapers, but increases entertainment morale, especially for unemployed colonists. And then drone auto repair. Construction drones automatically repair any damaged structure if they're idle. I'm going to turn that on right now. That is handy. And then oh cool, there's actually just a screen where I could just look at all the colonists. It pulls up the colonists' actual appearance and what is going on with them otherwise. This is the best portrait you can get of a colonist, even though there are some pictures of colonists that are not of colonists, but of like your advisors that'll be bigger. So I'm hoping they provide even more detail, because one thing I love about this is how much detail it's providing me about these colonists, and I would like each person to have as much individual detail as possible. Truly, you want to be able to see their entire portrait. You want to see what kind of person they are, what their interests are, what kind of food they eat. As you can see what their preferences are, what they're happy about, what they're not happy about, just as much detail as possible, and so much of it is already there. I'm just so excited about where this can go in the future. Buildings, awesome. So you can sort this. Yes, you can definitely sort it by efficiency. So you can see which buildings are worst numerically without having to use the overlay. This is actually very, very handy when you want to see which buildings are just not being very productive. That's incredibly useful. And then map settings. It looks like integrity. It looks like maybe a lot of buildings are damaged, maybe by those lightning strikes. So let me guess. Are these guys about to go to work? No? Okay, well, they're not going to repair anything. I don't know what integrity is then, because I would think integrity means structural integrity. like they're damaged by lightning strikes, but maybe not. Mission settings. And then this is just reminding me what the mission is. Statistics. Oh, wow. Holy crap. Excellent. Lets you see. So this is for the huge. I'm not going to go through all of this, but it's very clear the value of this to those of you who value graphs and this kind of data. So if you are a numbers nerd and you really want to get into the nitty gritty of what things have looked like, you can look at your data over the entire life of the colony. You can look at just the last day, the last 2 days, last 4 days. Of course, they're referred to as sols, but they also kind of count as years in a way because you have these seasonal changes. Very, very interesting for this game. You can also look at morale changes over time. Oh my gosh, that's so cool. And you can pull up as many graphs as you want. How many different colors are there? Yeah, you can turn on all the graphs at once if you want. Very, very cool. So that is overlay and colony control. And then trading, we've seen this just based on the options that are currently available. You can trade for certain types of resources depending on what you have available to you. And then down here, you've seen this many, many times, but the food overlay, or the food tooltip, rather, I guess is the word I should use, gives you lots and lots of information about how well you're doing food-wise. Not only are you producing enough food, but do you have enough food variety? But we've gone over that in the series so far. Same with water. Obviously, there's no such thing as water variety, but water abundance is very, very important, and you need to make sure your water per colonist is at least adequate or above, I would imagine. But I'll find out what the details are on that as I get more familiar with the game. Again, storage. This just lets us see how far into our current storage we are. And you can see what units are providing your storage. Air quality. Nice. So I have 0 air filters, but 6 intake fans and an average air quality of 87%. So it's very easy just to be able to look at this and look at these meters down here and see some things that are going to affect morale. Speaking of morale, you can see how many unhappy colonists there are here, how many protesters, unhealthy colonists, infected colonists, addicted colonists, or people who are in rehab and are recovering, that might be recovering from an injury of some kind as well. Who knows? But average health is 98%, so the colony is in pretty good shape. But a lot of information about your population can just be pulled up with a simple tooltip just by mousing over that. Nanites, again, very, very easy to keep track of that. This number is, again, per in-game hour, how many nanites will be added to your inventory. And then, of course, power situation overall is 382 out of 500 and where that is coming from. Then over here, what do we have? Show notifications. Recalls all the recent... Oh, that's cool. So this recalls recent notifications. If you've dismissed them by accident, you can bring them back. I like that a lot. That is really, really cool. And that is the interface. A lot of detail, I know, but that is the interface of Aven Colony. Those of you who were interested in it, I've lost my ability to speak. I've been talking so much. I can't say interested anymore. But those of you who were looking for that, I hope you found that satisfying. By all means, if there's something that I did not clarify, shoot me a comment on the video. Let me know if you have a question about it. I'll try to clear it up. Or if I do continue to record maybe another 5 episodes of this series, if I feel like showing more of Aven Colony, if you want to see more of it, then I can actually address your questions, concerns, comments, etc. in future videos. So definitely do that. But I'm over time for this episode because I wanted to cover everything. So thank you very much for watching. I will wrap this episode here. If you're watching this around early September of 2016, which is of course when this miniseries is airing, you'll want to check out avencolony.com for more information on the public beta starting on September 7th. Check out the additional information in the description below, and if you have any questions or additional tidbits about Aven Colony to contribute, feel free to leave a comment, and of course, if you enjoyed being here, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in a bit.